So I got up in the morning, I headed over to Moto Camp, and figured I'd hang out that day, see what the Antigua had for me. So this is in front of Moto Camp, and this yellow building back here is, or was previously like a wash basin where people go to wash their clothes. Everything there is like this. They have a lot of colonial buildings. I took the bike over to Antigua Moto, which is a motorcycle shop in Antigua. I thought that they were really going to take advantage of me on the pricing and everything, but I had a really heavy shake in the front end, and it was because the bolts were wrong in my front axle. So the axle bolts were wrong on the right side. It was throwing off the balance, and if I wasn't holding onto the bars, it would get really violent. So they took it in. No appointment necessary, and got it up on the table and started taking care of me. While it was there, I thought I would walk around to the guy walking. This guy in the hostel, a vendor walked in and stole his cell phone from one of the owners. And I guess that they found him, so now the police are here, down here in the park. So we're going to find out about it. Maybe watch something interesting. So, this is the guy. He's a criminal, stone cold killer. Well, he's not a killer. It's like a cell phone killer. This is Sherlock.
Welcome to Guatemala, bro. This is Jerry Springer in our house.
And this is not my daughter. We got the whole crowd out here. See? Getting faces and everything. Alright, well. Moment of truth. What happens when you robar? It's sad, but it's the only way to teach people stuff. He could have been doing it his whole life.
So kids, this is what happens when you do the wrong thing. When you do the wrong thing, you get caught.
So I wonder if they take a picture like when you...
Kids not good to steal things.
Bad. Muy malo. Ya se va. We were really happy to have found that guy, but I don't want you to think I think it's a joke, you know. So after we had that sorted, I went over and picked up the bike. These guys were happy. I let the two on the left, they went and rode the bike. They loved it, so they loved riding it around. And after that, I went and took the bike around town in my shorts. We're talking about a few blocks here and there at 5 miles an hour, and just got pictures of the sites. There are so many things there that I could not name them all. So if you know the name of something that I haven't labeled, leave a comment and let me know where, and I will go in and edit this. But I couldn't even find the names of everything going back in. I think some of them are just structures that have gone nameless. So after I had that all sorted, everybody had told me to go over to the market, and in the market I would be able to find some of the cool local artisan pieces. I wanted to see what the artwork looked like. I'd been in the markets in Mexico, I'd been in the markets in El Salvador, and so I was interested to see what the market here in Antigua would be like. I thought it was going to be really neat because of the culture, because it is kind of a touristy area, and I was just curious to see what it was going to be like. And you'll see here shortly, it's very much a gringo market. There are, I don't know, I'm used to kind of the disorder and a little bit of danger associated with these open markets like this, street markets. But in Antigua, it almost feels like an outdoor mall. It's really nice and clean, and you go in there and you just know that not only are prices negotiable, they're also 10 to 15 times what you would probably pay a vendor in the street. So luckily I speak Spanish. If you don't speak Spanish, you're in Antigua, which is probably half the people who are in Antigua that I met. There's just absolutely tons of different cultures and people here. Definitely either find somebody from your hostel, your hotel. See if somebody will go with you if you're actually going to go spend real money on stuff. or possibly see if you can negotiate yourself. But I didn't find that the people selling spoke much English, but there are a lot of people in the area who do speak English. So you also see how bumpy it is riding around on these cobblestone roads. Very bumpy. When I first got there, my chain needed tightening, which I also had taken care of when they were taking care of that steering balance issue. But I was just riding, and you just hear the chain shaking because it's so bumpy to ride through here. Every now and then I'd see like a bicycle riding through here, and these videos are deceiving. A bicycle on this road would be horrendous. I don't know how you do it. I don't know who would want to do it. But see, this is just riding that I just passed was Antigua Moto, and I'm headed over to the market now, fighting with the traffic and the tourists in this bumpy, horrible road. What is neat is I saw them doing road work on some different parts here, and they literally lay the rocks down, lay the sand and the mud and the gravel, and they do all the work by hand. I don't think that they use any kind of concrete, cement, hard surface to hold any of the rocks in. I think that they place them and hold them, and that is how everything is paved, so to say, in this in Antigua, Guatemala. So it's really neat, bustling, busy city, the police directing the traffic, and this is the way to get to what they call their market, which is really just like a tourist trap. But I wanted to go and find these, I can't even think of what they're called. I want to call them narwhals, and that's kind of what they're called, but I guess it is a narwhal, or yeah, I think it is a narwhal, and it's the equivalent to what they consider to be like a zodiac sign. It's based on the Mayans, and so it's a Mayan culture off the Mayan calendar that they have created these. So this is just outside the market. When you first get to it, you think, well, there are police directing everything, and actually she told me to move. She didn't want a motorcycle over here. She only wanted cars over here, so she told me to go park over there, and I did not touch that car. But it does not have any danger. You go into this place, and there is zero danger. So I park and head on in. Estamos acá aprendiendo sobre las... ¿Cómo son esos dioses? ¿Cómo son? ¿Qué son?
¿Narwhales?
Narwhales, como el...
Es como la energía de cada persona.
It's your energy. This is more accurate than a star sign, they say. So we're going through and we're figuring a couple of these out. Apparently, I'm a snail, so makes sense.
El animal es el lagarto.
Lagarto, como el...
Cocodrilo.
Cocodrilo.
Lagarto.
Ese es buena. Bueno. Okay, so we found out 10988 is lagarto. Y mine, June 11, snail. Buenas. So there you have it. So that night I took one of the guys from the hostel, one of the workers there, to dinner, and then the next morning I had not slept at all. I went with one of the guys from the hostel again across the street to get some breakfast, and then from there hopped on the bike and headed to Guatemala City. I had barely slept because a couple of my... I was in a private room, but a couple of the guys who were in the shared room, you guys know who you are because I know you're going to see this, were up all night, so I didn't sleep, and I didn't want to ride any kind of real distance. So it's only like an hour, maybe an hour and a half to get downtown from Antigua. So I decided that I would, to make sure that I would get some good rest and really recharge my batteries, because I'd had a couple of kind of long nights like that. And it's funny because I go to bed just fine, but it's the people, the hostels. That's the problem with a hostel, is you don't have nearly the peace and quiet you might get in a hotel. Some hostels you do really well, but some you do not. So typically I'd go home and I'd dump all of the data and stuff off of the cameras to my hard drive and kind of like just hit the sack. I wasn't like a night dweller, but everybody else, especially in the hostels, that doesn't exist. So got a hotel at the Hilton downtown Guatemala City and decided I'd head out that way before I went to El Salvador. Originally, I was going to just skip Guatemala City and leave from Antigua into El Salvador, because the southern route you can go through like the coastal towns there. So you can go through Acajutla, which is actually a pretty dangerous part of El Salvador. And so when I started looking at it, I thought, I'd rather go in through Santa Ana in El Salvador, which means, going through Guatemala City wasn't going to be a big deal. So decided that I would ride out, get some more video, I guess, of Antigua as I left, and then hit the open road, head out to Guatemala City. This is on not much sleep. I won't ride if I don't get over 4 hours. So I had gotten over 4 hours, but I still wasn't feeling great because it was pretty interrupted rest. So this is just the ride out of town and out towards Guatemala City. And you'll see this is kind of like what you have for an open road in Guatemala. This is about as wide and big and great as it gets. They don't have the straight, nice freeways and stuff like you're going to get in El Salvador, like you're going to get in Mexico, Nicaragua. The streets aren't bad by any means here, but, well, the freeway is not bad. The streets are horrible in Guatemala, but they're not like Honduras bad. So they're not bad, but they're also not straight. It takes a long time to go short distances. The drivers on this section, maybe a little more courteous, but really it's kind of every man for themselves in Guatemala on the road. So that's just kind of what this is. Eventually, as I started getting closer and closer to the city, you can't see it as much maybe in this video, but you get a really nice panoramic of the valley in Guatemala City. There was a marshmallow sign if you just saw it, and got to the hotel very happy to have something this clean and where I could relax. So you can see exactly, I got what I paid for. This is what I was there for. A little R&R in an air-conditioned hotel room, clean and no one around. This KTM dealer was an absolute joke. They asked me not to take pictures there. They said that this is for KTMs only, to which I responded, this is a KTM. But then I left, went back to the hotel, and I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe the KTM dealer didn't know their own bikes. So I get that mine's wrapped and stuff, but I could recognize this. In fact, other people, including like people you'd never think that would have any idea about bikes, were able to identify it as a KTM, and they did not work there. This is in the mall, and at the top of the mall, it was really weird. They have an armed guard, and they told me, the armed guard told me this is a temple at the top of the mall. So anyway, after that, got back, watched some Simpsons, went to bed. Thanks, guys. We have some more videos coming, so stay tuned.